Jiddu, I need to tell you a secret. I had an exam today and I cheated on the exam, and to be honest, I feel like it's eating me up inside as if it's haram.
Your father used to do the exact something and would always get in trouble. But you have done it now and cannot go back. I don't know if it is haram. Khair inshallah.
Thanks, Jiddu. Jiddu, I wanted to ask if it's halal to buy lottery tickets. They're so cheap and we could make a lot of money.
I don't know if it is halal or haram, but never think about something like that again.
Okay, I was just asking. Jiddu.
تعبتني. What do you want now?
I just wanted to ask if the sweet has beef gelatin is halal or haram?
You're supposed to check it before buying it, not after. I don't know if this is halal or haram.
Okay.
What now? I am trying to relax. Why do you keep asking me? تعال هنا الخاطر الله. Just go watch Ahkam SOS. Any question you have, they can answer you. You can call them, message them, anything. Ask as much as you like. They can answer any question from any marja, okay?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh, and welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. This is a live show. We're taking your questions, so if you have any questions you'd like to ask, please send them in via the WhatsApp number. Should be a QR code in the corner popping up any minute now. And you can send it in via there. If you're watching on Facebook Live or on YouTube, send it in the comment section, and inshallah we'll be able to answer your questions. We'd like to take this opportunity to send our condolences to the Imam of our time and also the Muslim Ummah, that we are commemorating the istishhad of Fatima Zahra salam alayha, her martyrdom, how she was brutally attacked. This is the second narration. It's not the strongest one, but still we do commemorate and we do honor the legacy of Fatima Zahra salam alayha on these days. And inshallah, may you guys continue to hold these programs and take part in these programs. And inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all your amal and your azar during this period. I'm your host Mohsin Shia, and joining me is Sheikh Alima. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
وعليكم السلام وأجوركم وأجورنا إن شاء الله.
Sheikhna, these nights, we are we are commemorating the birth, the life, the tragic death of Fatima Zahra salam alayha. And also, we see her as the mother of the Imams, the mother of the Ahlul Bayt. She is as the highest status of all women when it comes to Islam, and it comes to, on the day of Qiyamah as well. We have so many hadith in regards to her status. Is there anything you'd like to say, Sheikhna, in regards to the Ahlul Bayt or a special hadith or anything for the viewers while we commemorate Fatima Zahra salam alayha on these nights?
إن شاء الله. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. There's a hadith from the Kitab al-Kafi al-Sharif by the authority of Muhammad Sadiq alayhi salam, the sixth Imam of Ahlul Bayt, salamullah alayhim ajma'een. In a long hadith, I'll just take this part of the hadith where the Imam mentions this ayah of the Holy Quran in Surah An-Nahl, ayah 43. Yes, the Imam mentions, of course, we take the tafsir originally from the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, because they are the representatives of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They represent the true teachings of Islam.
Indeed.
The perfect or the exact tafsir of the Holy Quran from Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. The Imam says, قال جل ذكره, he mentions this ayah and he gives the meanings of this ayah. فاسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون, and ask the people of the dhikr if you don't know. The Imam salamullah alayhi says, الكتاب هو الذكر. The book of Allah, the Holy Quran, is a dhikr. So who is the ahl of the dhikr? Those who know the dhikr, the Holy Quran. Those who know the inside out of the Holy Quran, have the knowledge. Who are those who inherited the knowledge of the Quran from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Are they the Sahaba of the Prophet? The companions? Who can claim and come forward and say, I know the knowledge of the Quran? Nobody, not even Ibn Abbas. Nobody can say, I know the knowledge and the exegesis and the tafsir of the Holy Quran and the ta'wil and everything. The Imam says, Al-Kitab huwa al-dhikr. The Holy Book is the dhikr. وَأَهْلُهُ آلَ مُحَمَّدٍ صلى الله عليه أجمعين. And the ahl of the Quran are the holy progeny of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa alihi, Ahlul Bayt salamullah alayhim. They know the inside out and the meanings of the Holy Quran and the verses, the ta'wil, the tafsir, the tanzil. They know it, word by word, harf by harf. So they are the actual ulama of the Muslims, of the Al Muhammad salamullah alayhim. They have the knowledge. They got this knowledge from Rasulullah, the grandfather sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. And not the Sahaba. The Sahaba had limited knowledge, very limited knowledge. Even someone asked by one of the Sahaba that, what does وَفَاكِهَةً وَأَبَّا means? He didn't know the meaning of the Abba. Fakih means fruits. What Abba means? And he called himself Khalifa of the Muslimin. He didn't know the meaning of Abba. And then was given the meaning. The Abba was the food of the animals, like hay and other.
Yes.
So you can see that how some of those who assigned themselves as Khalifa of Rasulullah unjustly, they couldn't answer basic questions of the Quran, the meanings of the Quran, because they took the wrong positions. As the Imam said, alayhi salam, in Nahj al-Balagha, لَقَدْ تَقَمَّصَهُ ابْنَ أَبِي قُحَافَةَ, that Ibn Abu Quhafa, Abu Bakr took the place, or he wore the Khilafah shirt or the garment. Of course, that wasn't suits him. It's like somebody who is not a doctor, he would wear that white jacket of the shirt of the doctor. So you can see how Islam was penetrated by those who were not eligible and knowledgeable and expert in this field to take over, to take over the Islam without having the knowledge, without having the right features and skills to be able to take this divinely position that only Allah has the right to assign. إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. Allah is the one who appoints the Khalifa. إِنِّي جَاعِلُكَ لِلنَّاسِ Imam. Allah is the one who appoints the Imam, and so forth. So the Imam says the meaning of this surah, of the ayah in this surah, Surah Al-Nahl, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. الكتاب هو الذكر وأهله آل محمد سلام الله عليه. Then the Imam says, أمر الله عز وجل بسؤالهم. Allah ordered, commanded that people ask them, go back to them. And of course, we go to the ulama who also narrate the hadith, like this hadith from Ahlul Bayt. So when we go back and ask the ulama, the maraja, the fuqaha, we're actually trying to find the meanings, because they would interpret, they would explain to us the meanings of these hadith and so forth. So through them we get the tafsir of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam about the Holy Quran.
Ahsan. Sheikhna, I do apologize. I'm nursing a cold, that's why I was sneezing. And you said, Harakallah, is this mustahab to say? Is this wajib to say when someone sneezes?
Yes, yeah.
Where, in English, I think we say bless you.
It's mentioned.
Can we say bless you?
In the narrations. No, you say it, Yarhamakumullah, of course. It's good. Allah Azza wa Jalla, blessings.
Fair. Exactly. Right, Sheikhna, before I start the questions, mashallah, loads of questions coming in. If you have a question you'd like to send in, please send it via the WhatsApp. QR code is there in the corner. If you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, just put it in the comment section. Inshallah, that we'll be able to, the technical team will send them to me and I'll be able to ask them. If you want to call in, 0203515099. If you're outside the UK, just call the WhatsApp number. They'll put you through to us. Sheikhna from YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. My friend used to be an alcoholic. Must I disclose this if someone inquires about him for marriage? Sheikhna used to be an alcoholic. If we use husn dhan, he's repented, he doesn't do it anymore. Do I need to mention this? If, I know somebody who maybe a few years ago wasn't practicing, but now, mashallah, he's turned it around. Do I need to mention some of his old habits if someone's inquiring about a marriage?
You see, in overall, if somebody committed a sin in the past, and now they've repented to Allah Azza wa Jal, usually you should confess and say your sins to Allah Azza wa Jal and not to the people. Always try to avoid mentioning what you do as a sin. It's between you and Allah Azza wa Jal. You confess to Allah Azza wa Jal, i'tiraf بالذنب to Allah Azza wa Jal, and ask Allah's repentance and tawbah and istighfar, and you carry on with your life. So don't tell people that I committed that sin and so forth. It's between you and Allah Azza wa Jal. You confess them to Allah Azza wa Jal, and you, of course, ask forgiveness and repentance.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. How are you, brother? No, I'm Sunni and send my salam to all the Imams. I'm asking you, tell me, brother. Okay. Alaikum salam. As always, we always, appreciate anyone that comes on and watches our channel. Sheikhna, this is a Sunni brother that's watching and says, I'm asking you, how do I send salam to the Imams? So the Sunni brother wants to send salam to the Imams.
To the Imams of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. If you go back to let's say, the internet and try to find, let's say, ziyarat warith, ziyarat Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, ziyarat Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, you'll find this, the ziyarat of Ahlul Bayt narrated by Ahlul Bayt themselves, by the Imams of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. So that's the best way to say the salam. So let's say, Assalamu alayka ya warith Adam, or salam upon the one who inherited Adam alayhi salam. When you say salam to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, even from far. So this is how you say salam. The warith of Nuh, the inheritor of Nuh, the inheritor of Musa, and so forth. You have the ziyarah of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Assalamu alayka ya Amin Allah, again mentioned. So best salam is to find it through how Ahlul Bayt taught us to say salam to them.
Ahsant. Inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your ziyarah, inshallah. From YouTube, can I do mut'ah with a Muslim girl in a Western country and she's not hijabi and she and her family are not really religious? Does she still need father's permission? She is a Muslim girl.
If virgin, yes, she still needs the permission.
Okay. From YouTube, in Salah, if somebody pronounces a word incorrectly, will the prayer be valid? For example, if they say Al-Lazina instead of Al-Ladina.
Is it the Imam of the Jama'ah or himself when he prays by himself?
I think it's both. But let's just say if he prays by himself.
From now on, they should correct the recitation and avoid saying Al-Lazina, for example, or saying, mentioning the wrong harakat.
Do their best.
Do their best from now on. And to avoid making mistakes. If it was with the Imam Jama'ah saying, let's say Al-Lazina or whatever, they have to pronounce this word in the Salah properly. Al-Ladina or Al-Dallin, for example. They try to correct it by themselves when they behind the Imam. Just that word.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. What is the ruling on self-defense if someone hits me in the face?
Of course, the Quran mentions if somebody attacks you, you have the right to attack. فَاعْتَدُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا اعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ. But of course, other verses comes that forgiveness is the best option. So forgiving is the best option. So Islam gives the right to defend yourself, in somehow. But of course, we have the forgiveness to forgive the others, also encouraged. And that's what Rasulullah did, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. With who? With the war criminal like Abu Sufyan and others in Mecca, when he conquered Mecca and took over Mecca without any single blood to be shed. So he forgave Ahl Mecca, the mushrikeen of Mecca, and of course they were tulaqa, they were freed as a result. He could have killed them easily.
Yes, true. From YouTube, Sheikhna, your favorite question, is marja'iyya or taqleed obligatory?
Taqleed means to follow, emulate somebody who is expert in all fields. If you're ill, you go to the doctor. If you need a boiler in your house, especially in this cold weather, you need to go to a company who supplies and fits and installs boiler. If you need computer, you have to go to the computer shop.
Doctor, medicine.
And so forth. And the same applies to the most important knowledge and field, which is the Islamic field and religious field. You have to go back to, we just mentioned, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ. You have to go to those who know the Sharia and they're Al Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And of course, those who explain to us, extract the ahkam, are the ulama today, the maraja'. We have to go back to them who would deliver what Ahl Bayt said, what the Holy Prophet said, what the Sunnah of Rasulullah was and how he practiced it. We learn from them. We go back to the ulama to take our ahkam and religion from them.
Here we go, Sheikhna. Was Umar good? Okay, Sheikhna, I want to rephrase the question because obviously it is very, very well known the Shia stance when it comes to Umar bin Khattab. For those who are questioning and saying, Sheikh, why do the Shia, they don't appreciate Umar bin Khattab? Why do the Shia have a different narrative? You know, why do the Shia believe that he's going to go to hell? What would be your response, Sheikhna?
It's in the Holy Quran. It's nothing to do with us. You know, we're not claiming something, allegation or something, ittiham. The Quran states, أَفَإِمْ مَاتَ أَوْ قُتِلْ. If Muhammad sallallahu alayhi was to die or to be killed,
to die, or rather
to be killed, انقلبتم على عقابكم. You would fall back on your heels. So you would basically deviate, in other words.
Yes.
Quran says inqilab against Rasulullah, like a coup, revolution against Rasulullah family after he passed away. It's in the Quran.
And yes, and then furthermore, history dictates so many atrocities this man committed against Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. Next question, Assalamu alaikum. Sayyid and Sheikh, alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. It's always nice when they mention me. Hope you both are doing well. Thank you very much. My question is, why should we have to do taqlid and maraja with Imam Tahirin told us about every aspect of Islam? So, why should we go to our maraja when Aimma have already discussed everything in Islam?
Okay, number one, I mentioned just a few minutes ago that you have to go to the experts.
Okay.
Because they know how to extract the hukum from the hadith or from the Quran. Number two, if this is left to us to extract the ahkam, now you have two hadith. One hadith says that Ahl Kitab are pure and tahir. The other hadith says they are najis and impure. How do you make the choice?
How do we approach the situation?
We're going to get stuck in these ahadith.
Furthermore, the one we spoke about in Hawza was smoking. There was no smoking in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there are no hadith directly talking about smoking. So what's the rule on smoking? So now we have to go back onto the other hadith to do with health, to do with breathing, to do with substances, to do with harm, to do with benefit, and so forth. And then we have to conclude and come to a decision.
Exactly.
And then who are qualified to do that?
The Maraja, of course, the experts in this field. And the same applies to the medical field. Again, the corona issue, for example. Who cured the issue of the corona, the vaccines? Exactly. So, I mean, we have to go back. This is something logical, aqli, that tells us that the jahil goes back to the alim. In all fields, medical, in agriculture, for example, in religious, for example, science, cosmology, you go back to the experts in this field. Otherwise, things would be chaotic. If the jahil takes over, then musibah.
From YouTube, is it permissible for a woman to wear the niqab, and is it better than the hijab? Niqab, for those of you who don't know, also known as the burqa, is the covering of the face, isn't it, Sheikh? Like that. Is that better than the hijab?
Ayatollah Shirazi mentions that, of course, this is the hijab of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam and Bibi Zainab alayhi salam as well. That's their hijab, the full hijab. But that's not wajib and compulsory. Today our ulama and maraja say that she can show her face and both hands, not wajib to cover them. But that's of course the role model. It would be the hijab of Lady Fatima alayhi salam.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum Sheikhna. When we compliment someone, does the phrase Barakallah feek, may Allah bless you, ward off the evil eye? Or if saying the phrase MashaAllah, God has willed it, sufficient to ward off the evil eye? Sheikhna, hasad and ayn and things like that, we say, Barakallah feek, MashaAllah, things like that.
definitely ذكر الله عز وجل على كل حال would be protection for individual. Let's say ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله. We have specific wordings mentioned to protect yourself from the ayn and the evil eye. So yes, one can go back and find these wordings, these dhikr, and let's say it every day to protect themselves, on top of paying sadaqah and so forth.
Fair. From YouTube, in Salah, when do we say Rabbana wa lakal hamd? While rising or after standing?
I think mainly Ahlul Sunnah do this when
After
they
ruku',
pray.
I think.
Before going towards the sujood.
We don't have anything, do we?
We say Sami Allah liman hamida, Allahu Akbar.
Sami Allah liman hamida is from sujood, standing up. From ruku, going to qiyam, and then sujood. Is there anything we say there?
I think we say, after saying Subhanallah, then we go towards.
Yes, we do. Sami Allah liman hamida. Then they respond, Rabbana lakal hamd. And always say Bihawlillah when standing.
Yeah, Bihawlillah.
From YouTube, relatives consume haram. What is the ruling on their purity if they shake my hand and touch my clothes? I have relatives, Sheikh. Some of them may drink alcohol, not eat halal food and so forth. Are they najis to me?
If you see them consuming just before cross-contamination of najasa transferred to you, so you have to wash. Otherwise, you haven't seen.
From YouTube.
Number one, you have to advise her if she is intentionally not to wear the hijab. Sometimes, the daughter is more religious than the mother or the parents. If this is the case, of course, if advising, talking to her nicely, billati ahsan, as the Quran mentions, with nice words, with akhlaq, and then try your best to cover the curtains, for example, if you want to avoid people looking at it, for example.
Invest in some shades. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, how are you? I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for asking. That's a good call. What is a good Quranic verse to read to a newborn baby every day? Thank you. That's a fantastic question. Sheikh, brand new baby, what's a good Quranic ayah to recite to the baby every day?
I can't remember, to be honest, a specific ayah. But there is an ayah about the dua of the parents towards their offspring.
Yes.
That Allah makes our offspring mu'min and so forth. I can't remember the ayah.
From YouTube, can a woman travel without her mahram to a city that is 40-50 minutes away?
As long as she observes the hijab and she's in the journey is the safe journey.
And she has permission as well.
Permission, let's say if she's married to a husband, for example, there should be no issue.
From YouTube, can I play sports in college team that include opposite gender?
You see, the problem is when it comes in contact with the opposite gender in games, haram will be committed in somehow, intentionally, unintentionally. So the best way is to avoid playing with the opposite gender any type of games, because haram will be committed, especially if they're non-hijabi. They're gonna touch and maybe push you or hug you, for example. You're gonna fall into the haram in somehow. I mean, let alone the issue of arousing the lust by looking. Things will be ala kull hal in a bad direction.
From YouTube, my husband said I mispronounced Allahu Akbar in Salah, but I'm certain I didn't. Should I perform such the salah?
No, this is as long as they're not sure about it and they've passed the phase and the stage, they just have to ignore it.
From YouTube, is using a random number generator permissible? Depends on what you're using it for, my friend. But random number generator?
What's that for?
I don't know. Makes random numbers, I guess. From YouTube, must I rub the inside of my ear in wudu, or can I just insert my index finger and take it out? There's no washing ears in wudu, my friend. Check the Quranic ayah. There's nothing to do with washing your ears. Sheikhna.
Indeed, I mean, the Quran is very clear. And in Arabic, Arabin Mubin, very clear Arabic. فَغَسِلُوا وَامْسَحُوا. فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم.
Yes.
To wash your face
And your arms.
and your arms, and to rub or wipe your head and feet, but not to wash the face, the whole head, for example,
Yes.
or half of the head. This is the face. That's it. Don't go beyond that. This boundary between the middle finger and the thumb. That's the border of your face. So try to use the right means for washing.
From YouTube, is tasbih necessary after each salah? Tasbih is the tasbih of Zahra, I think they're talking
Recommended,
about.
yes, very recommended.
It's recommended after salah, but not mandatory.
No.
From YouTube, is it true that Zubayr ibn Awam repent after he left the battle and Imam Ali informed Zubayr's killer that he would enter hellfire, and that he mentioned his act of bravery in early battles in Islam?
No, sadly, it's the opposite. It showed that his aqibah, his fate was an evil and deviated faith, because he stood against the Imam of his time, and then he left the battlefield.
Yeah.
So he went the wrong way, sadly. He was the supporter of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. He was one of those who defended the house of Fatima alayhis salam with a sword. But sadly, this is what we call aqibat su', the bad ending and fate.
Fair.
Alhamdulillah.
Do I repeat my prayer if there was cat hairs on the prayer mat or socks?
In terms of the prayer of the
So
cat's hair should be on the body, on the clothes, that you have to remove and then pray.
Yeah.
That's important.
Okay. Sheikh, we're going to go to a short break. Inshallah, we're going to continue our discussion after the break, but it's a good time now to send in your questions. So if you have a question on any topic whatsoever, whether the topic is on business, history, it's on Islamic law, prayer, funerals, birthday, whatever question you have on Islamic law, send it in via the WhatsApp, QR code is in the corner, or if you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, put it in the comment section, and inshallah we'll be able to discuss and answer your questions. Thank you very much. Join us after the break.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of scholars.
Is it permissible to plant trees by or
Was
over
Islam
the
established
graves?
based on peace and
Is it
non-violence?
permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is there
countries?
an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 09 2155.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures
Is
of
it
scholars
permissible
at
to
home.
plant trees by or
Was
over
Islam
the graves?
established based on peace
Is
and
it permissible
non-violence?
to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is there
countries?
an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 09 2155.
Yes, that's right. Send in your questions via the WhatsApp. The QR code should be there in the corner. If you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, put it in the comment section. If you want to give us a call, 0203 515 0199 if you're in the UK. And if you're outside the UK, just call the WhatsApp number and inshallah we'll be able to discuss and answer your questions. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sheikh, which scholars can we watch to learn from their character and etiquette? MashaAllah, Sheikh, we have many, many scholars and all of them carry themselves very, very well. They speak with humbleness and kindness and good akhlaq. They dress and walk with good akhlaq. They have very nice mannerisms. And we are encouraged to look at a scholar, spend time with a scholar, learn from a scholar. So which ones can we use, Sheikh, to learn more about etiquette and good character? Is anyone you can recommend?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Well, it's like a garden with different types of flowers and roses. So you have to pick and choose. Some of the ulama are experts in specific field, for example, in fiqh, jurisprudence, for example. You can make use of that. Of course, if he's your marja', you have to follow his fatawa. Some ulama are experts in aqaid, Islamic beliefs. Some are experts in akhlaq. So it depends the topic you want to basically learn from this alim. So I would, for example, choose many ulama and look through their books, for example, especially those who have passed away, like Alam al-Majlisi, Kitab al-Kahfi, I'm just reading from. You have Makarim al-Akhlaq, Tabarsi, different types of books written by different ulama. each in their own field expertise. So hadith, you go to Kafi, you go to أنا مجلسي بحار الأنوار. Fiqh books, I mean, you go back to your marji'. Akhlaqi book, you go back to Makaram Akhlaq al-Tabrasi, as I mentioned now, and so forth.
Fair. From YouTube, how are Marajas experts in understanding the consequences of substance abuse? Why not the drug inspector or doctor? First of all, we did not say that the Maraja are experts in consequences of substance abuse. We've never said that. They are experts in deriving Islamic law from the sources. And secondly, why not a drug inspector or doctor? I think the Maraja would actually encourage you to go see a doctor or someone who is in the narcotics to understand substance abuse and so forth. But Sheikhna, why go to a Maraja for the consequences of substance abuse? Why not a doctor or so forth?
No, of course, you have to go to the doctor if it's to do with medical treatments and so forth.
No one ever said these...
Ulama are experts in extracting the hukum from the sources, the Quran and the Sunnah, the Hadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. So that's their job, is to extract the hukum
they
from
can
the
tell
sources.
you what the Islamic law is on substance abuse. But what they can't tell you is if you have abused substances, what you need to do now. That's to the doctor, and they are the experts in the human body. From YouTube, is it permissible to rent my shop to a ladies' salon? Sheikh, I have a property on the high street. A lady wants it to have a ladies' salon on it and so forth. Am I allowed to give it to her?
Yes, it's allowed. Yeah.
Is it better to do Tasbih Zahra after or before the 3 takbirat?
When you end the salah, of course, by saying Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, you start Tasbih Zahra straight away after the end of salah.
Sheikh, is it recommended for men to cover their head and arms during prayer?
We have something mentioned that if you want to pray, to wear the imama, the turban, for example, or wrap something on your head, for example.
Clean white clothes.
Exactly.
Comb your hair, wear atar, perfume,
miswak,
and so forth. I know there is a lot of mustahabat and encouragement on dressing nice, smelling nice.
Exactly.
And like you said, the imama, even the hadak as well, and so forth.
Yes.
So there's a lot there. Is it haram for men to do isbal, meaning wearing pants that go below the ankle?
What is haram is to show or expose the private parts, the back and the front. That's the haram. But if it's covered, that's at least, of course, you can't walk in the street in this way. That would arouse the lust and would cause corruption in the surroundings and in the society. So you have to see how things work. You can't really come out in this state in the street where there's lots of women watching.
From YouTube, how can I be a righteous, practicing, and dutiful child to my parents in Islam? Well, what you can do, I'll let the Sheikh answer that. Sheikh, how can someone be righteous, practicing, and dutiful child to their parents in Islam?
The Quran says that worship Allah Azza wa Jal, لا تعبدوا إلا إياه وبالوالدين إحسان, and to be good towards your parents. Allah's worship, belief, and then to be good towards your parents.
Fair. From YouTube, are the hadiths commending black clothing, comparing to it like of the followers of Pharaoh's authentic? Okay. Are the hadiths condemning black clothing, comparing it to the likes of the followers of Pharaoh authentic? Those who say wearing black clothes, you're like the followers of Pharaoh, they used to wear black clothes. Some even say the Umayyads used to wear black, that was their colour and so forth. Are these like authentic, these hadiths?
Yes, I've read some of the ulama's opinion when they mentioned about wearing black, other than Ahlul Bayt's commemoration and shahada, that could be makruh or discouraged because of the pharaohs who used to wear it in that time. So they would mention something like that. Yeah.
From YouTube, I'm an agriculturist and I recommend different pesticides to farmers for killing pests. Is it not sinful to kill these living organisms?
I mean, if something is harmful to the human being, let's say insects at home, for example, rats, mice,
they carry diseases.
Of course.
You have to get rid of them.
Yeah, logically, you have to get rid of them.
From YouTube, is it permissible for a woman to learn sports or have a male teacher?
Again, if...
a woman can learn sports, no?
She, of course, within her environment that she's allowed to, to learn swimming, for example, football, whatever she likes to learn. But it has to be within the female environment.
Yeah, female instructor and
exactly.
female.
And alhamdulillah, now we have female gyms around, at least in the UK now.
Yeah.
So you can go back to those.
And
gyms.
having a male teacher. Having a male teacher in the sport.
It's problematic.
I guess if she's young, if she's like 5-6 years old and she's learning karate or something like that, there's not much of an issue.
The issue is with the adolescent girl.
Fair enough. Is it permissible to keep in touch with a non-mahram teacher?
Well, number one, to be in isolation or seclusion, let's say, khalwa, with that teacher who is from opposite gender, who is not mahram, is of course forbidden. So, in a place where the other people can access that room, for example, or that accommodation, and there is no charm, there's no riba, there's no haram, lust. All these conditions, if you can tick all these boxes, then we can say yes, to some extent. But usually things happen, banter, joking, which takes place in somehow. So if one can avoid all these things haram, then there should be no problem.
From YouTube, people say it's not haram to have female friends because the prohibition is based on Sa'd al-Dhara'a. And Sa'd al-Dhara'a is void, batal, in Usul al-Fiqh. Is this true?
You have the Holy Quran. وَلَا مُتَّخِذِي أَخْدَانِ. And do not take friends from opposite gender. Khadan means a friend from the opposite gender. The Quran forbids this kind of relationship. So forget about Sadd al-Dhara'a and all these usul stuff. Qiyas, ma qiyas, which was with Abu Hanifa and others. Forget these. You have the Holy Quran. وَلَا مُتَّخِذِي أَخْدَانِ. Very clear in the Holy Quran. You're not allowed to have a friend from the opposite gender without any nikah contract. If there has to be contract, then of course, that's official.
Is there gender equality in Islam? That's from YouTube.
Yes, indeed, there is. But you cannot, for example, when it comes to the earth, لِلذَّكَرِ مِثْلَ حَظُّ الْأُنْثَيَيْنِ, that the Quran says in terms of the inheritance, you give a full portion to the male and half to the female. Why? Because the female she's already, let's say, married or will get married.
So she gets a dowry there.
She's got already the dowry. She's got already the husband spending on her. But this male, let's say future husband or current husband, he needs to invest.
It's more justifiable.
Exactly.
For the male to receive more than it. From YouTube, must we repeat the adhkar for sleeping if we go to the toilet at night?
What kind of adhkar?
I don't know. It just says, must we repeat the adhkar for sleeping if we go to the toilet at night? Or is it dhikr? It might be dhikr.
Yeah, just before you sleep, try to remember or just recite all these adhkar.
No problem. Sheikh, I've been asked that we have about 10 minutes left, 12 minutes left, and we have a lot of questions to go through. So inshallah, let's get through them and let's make the answers short and straight to the point. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for helping us all. I have a question. What's a good Quranic verse to say every morning to have a good day and stay away from the shaitan's path? Thank you. Quranic verse in the morning. I always recommended my students to read Surah Fajr after Fajr Salah, because it's about the morning. There's Dua Subh as well to recite in the morning. Sheikh, anything?
I think all the verses are good and excellent, but one of the verses that mentioned to recite every day, وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهِ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزِقُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. There's a taqwa, piety, and there's a rizq as well. To the end of the ayah. Very good ayah to recite. For rizq, sustenance, for taqwa, to have more piety, and God-fearing as well.
From YouTube, is inviting a sheikh to do a wedding for a talk an innovation? So if I invite the sheikh to a wedding and he's going to give a little speech, is that an innovation?
No, of course. That's some kind of giving advice to those who are attended and to the bride and the groom as well. I think there was a khutbah about the marriage of one of the Imams, he gave a sermon, famous sermon. Yes, they used to give a sermon and then they used to recite the nikah contract.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. What's a good dua to help us on black magic or evil eyes? Thank you. I think it's Surah Nas, no, Sheikh?
The four قل يا كافرون سورة الفلق والناس إخلاص أحسنت.
YouTube, the children nowadays are being troublesome. How can we rectify this? Disciplining children, Sheikhna, it can be difficult. I haven't got children, but I know you have, Sheikhna. Islamically speaking, because there's a kafara to pay. If you are to use physical discipline and there are marks left on the body, there's a kafara for that. How should we approach disciplining children in Islam?
One of the prophetic advices, I think, it was in the sermon just before month of Ramadan. He states, "Warhamu صغاركم." Have mercy upon those who are younger than you, the children. So to have mercy, we try to implement mercy as much as we can. Advise them, encourage them with gifts, take them to the mosques, because that environment would also affect their akhlaq as well from this age.
From YouTube, what is the relationship between Islam and tradition? I guess, Sheikhna, because a lot of people say that, this is not Islam, this is tradition, or this is culture. However, Islam hasn't banned tradition. It hasn't stopped culture. Islam told us to have halal food, but it didn't tell us, how to cook our food. We can still cook our food in our cultural, traditional ways. Islam told us what parts of the body to cover with clothes, but it didn't tell us we're not allowed to wear this because this is what Indians wear, and you can't wear that because that's what Westerners wear, and Europeans wear this, and so forth. So what is the relationship between Islam and tradition?
There's a verse in the Holy Quran which mentions about the tribes that we created you as tribes and nations.
So you get to know one another.
But at the end of the day, what does it says? إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. The best of you are the one who is
piety.
Observes piety. Yes, this is the most important. You can wear whatever you wear. Dishdasha, I don't know, ladies would wear
suit.
I don't know, abaya, sari, whatever you want to wear. But what is important, taqwa, God-fearing. In other words, to implement and apply the wajibat and refrain from muharramat. What is the Shara said about haram? We have to avoid it.
What is tab'id when doing taqlid, and when can we use it?
Tab'id is to basically
refer to another
marja'. But this is only allowed when your marja' has no fatwa on a specific hukum. For example,
sometimes it says in English, was it precaution?
Ihtiyat precaution.
Ihtiyat precaution,
obligatory precaution. In this case, you can go back to the marja' that says, the a'lam, the most knowledgeable, after this your marja', who says this is allowed. For example, if your marja' says that as a precaution, Ahl al-Kitab are impure, najis, you can go back to another marja'
who may have a different opinion,
who says that he gives fatwa that no, Ahl al-Kitab are pure.
Okay, and this is my reasoning behind. Okay,
make life easier for
you. YouTube, is it haram to consume psychedelics for spiritual or recreational purposes? Yes, it is. Psychedelics, Sheikhna, are certain drugs that can make you go. What's the word? They'll make you hallucinate.
I don't know how it works, but if it's like the drugs, class A, B, then there's of course
psychedelics. Is it permissible for a man to pierce his ears, Sheikhna?
What is mentioned that a man should not look like a woman, and it's a narration, by the way. I think the prophetic narration or Ahl Bayt that tashabbuh bin nisa bil-rijal, that a day will come in which the men would.
But Sheikhna, what about, for example, where I come from, in Punjab? It is very traditional for the men to have their ears pierced. It is very traditional for the Sadat, the Sayyids, to have their ears pierced and wear these like rings. It's a sign of nobility. It's a sign of like you coming from a certain honorable family and so forth. What about over there? Is it okay over there?
I mean, of course, they have their own culture over there. But in anyhow, one should not look like, I mean, as we have in the West, they would wear earrings, for example, in one ear. You shouldn't look like the females. That's the most important thing.
From YouTube, is being friends with the opposite gender haram, and if so, why? We could quickly, Sheikh.
I've just mentioned وَلَا مُتَّخِذِ أَخْدَانِ. The Quran says, do not consider friendship with the opposite gender who is not halal to you, like for example, she is not your wife, and that's because this kind of relationships would end up, na'udhu billah, committing haram, and then they separate, and then she might be pregnant, la samhallah, with that child from this illegitimate, for example, relationship, and so forth. So it causes corruption to the society at the end of the day. I remember back in the 90s, I heard that 75% of one of the European countries of their born children are illegitimate birth.
wow.
75, imagine.
Wow.
In the 90s.
Wow.
I don't mention which country.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam.
I recently got to know about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that tongue incident. I don't want to complete the sentence. Can you give me the details about it? Because my brain is not accepting it. I'm not sure. What tongue incident? Do you know about the tongue incident?
I don't know.
If you could explain, if it is a hadith, give us the reference to the hadith, and we'll just say, can you please explain this hadith? We'll go look it up, read it up, and we'll let you know about it. More questions coming in, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum both. How can we deal with non-believing practicing parents and with parents calling you while praying?
وبالوالدين إحسانا. Try to be good with your parents, and may Allah Azza wa Jalla, with your akhlaq, with your good treatment and conduct, attract them towards, inshallah, the true path, inshallah.
From YouTube, is it still wajib to recite out loud for the Maghrib prayer if you're in a small prayer area and praying alone around Sunnis? Okay, so if I'm going to pray loud Maghrib, I went to the Sunni mosque, I went to the corner, small room though. Is it still mandatory for me to recite loud? That will attract attention and people,
I mean, you don't have to shout. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. That kind of
nice and
loudness.
easy.
You don't have to shout.
But in a quiet room, Sheikhna, a little bit of noise can sound loud. From YouTube, are there any hadith of Imam Hussein having pierced ears authentic? Sheikhna, I've heard from a Sheikh, he mentioned it, that there is hadith in regards to Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein having their ears pierced, they're wearing earrings and so forth. However, this doesn't mean that we have to do it. I'm very well aware, probably in the Middle East, men do not wear earrings, and if they were to wear earrings, they're considered a bit feminine and so forth.
I'm not sure about this hadith now.
Fair, no problem. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum. I had an exam where I didn't cheat, nor did I know that the teacher who set my grade in advance. Well, Assalamu alaikum. I had an exam where I didn't cheat, nor did I know what the teacher who set me in advance. After the exam, they told me a certain grade, but because it's our last year at the school before university, they were kind enough to give me a better grade. They probably show their kindness to another student, but there is a chance that some are not lucky enough to show this kindness. Is it mandatory for me to complain about my grade and ask for a lower grade, knowing what if I complain the grade should be very much worse according to the option of safe study? No, because I'll tell you why, Sheikhna. Sometimes at university, and this is very common, what they'll do is they'll check everyone's results. And if they see that everyone has low results, okay, so they'll see that, okay, only one person managed to get 60%, and the rest were between 30 and 40. That means the exam was very difficult. So what we need to do now is push everyone's grades up because the exam was difficult, because nobody got 90, 80, 70. And vice versa. If everybody was getting above 80% in the exam, then they push the grades down low because they know that, this was too easy and doesn't really give the correct evaluation of what they've learned and so forth. So this person's got a grade. They've decided to put his grade up for whatever reason. Should he complain or should he keep it the same?
I think this is very common. I remember from primary school time that the teacher would push up at least 1 or 2 marks. Because they would calculate the punctuality, attendance, akhlaq, behavior at school, and they would give 1 or 2 extra mark. And that is some kind of encouragement for the one to study and for betterment, of course.
Assalamu alaikum from YouTube. Can we have more than one house as in second mortgage, or is it not allowed?
I think I've mentioned this many times that for the first house you need, of course, you can buy with mortgage. It's your first house. You have no choice. You don't want to be every few years, renting a house with so much, increase in the rent, especially in UK, in London. But for the second house, to use it for the mortgage for the purpose of, let's say, investing, that's a problematic.
Fair.
Yeah.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Hajj and Sheikhna. Alaikum salam. What sort of advice can you give me to help encourage my wife to put on the scarf? Will I be unjust on her if I divorce her because she won't put her scarf on and keep telling me when she is ready? She is now 30 years old. And we're having our first child together. And wallahi, it makes me really uncomfortable and doesn't sit well with me. Sheikhna, hijab. My wife is not wearing hijab. I'm encouraging her to do it. She keeps saying in my own time when I can and so forth. Should I divorce her? We're having a child now as well. Should I be patient with her? Should I take her for ziyarah? That normally works.
I mean, you have to bring her towards the mu'mineen and mu'minat side. So bring her to the mosques, to the Islamic centers, to the Imam Barkas, Majalis Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam. Let her see other hijabi women, to be friend with her, for example. Encourage her. I know one of the ulama's wife, she's an old woman. She has lessons every week, in the past, I think, not now. So lots of non-hijabs used to come and listen to her dars, and gradually some of them would become hijabi at the end of the day. So you have to bring them in these majalis.
So bring them to the environment. They need to have an environment where they have to wear hijab. They have to have hijabi friends and so forth.
Exactly.
They have to understand the beauty behind hijab and why it is practiced and so forth. And inshallah, it can work from there. But don't give up, huh, Sheikh? Keep trying, be patient, and inshallah.
إنما أنت منذر, as Allah says to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You are the warner. You warn them. You advise them. Yeah. That's our duty now.
Fair.
And may Allah Azza wa Jalla guide all the.
Thank you very much, Sheikh. And thank you to all the viewers for joining us on this episode of Ahkam SOS. Myself and the Sheikh will be back again on Monday, 7 p.m. here on Imam Hussein TV. We do apologize if we didn't answer your question. We had so many questions coming in, and we did our best to answer all of them. And also, if you have a question you'd like to ask, please send it in via the WhatsApp. QR code is there. Or next time when we're on Facebook Live or YouTube, just put your questions in the comment section, and we'll be more than happy to help. Please continue to go towards the programs that are commemorating Fatima Zahra salam alayha, and inshallah may Fatima Zahra salam alayha accept your azah, and inshallah give shafa'a and give you with your hajat, and inshallah may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your hajat and all your amal. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. Thank you to you guys. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jiddu, I need to tell you a secret. I had an exam today and I cheated on the exam, and to be honest,